Good morning, Earth. Good morning, Mother Earth and Father Sky. Meeting, joining one another. All is beautiful indeed. That was a poster on my wall when I was a kid, along with this other poster in the bathroom as kids. What is it? War is unhealthy for children and other living things. Yeah. But some wars you have to fight. So some wars are healthy because it's like you fighting for your life. So sometimes you have to fight a war, even if it's within your body. So anyways, over the weekend, I was creating this thing called the Jilly Juice Girl because that's the ultimate outcome I want in the world, is where we have a girl with wisdom. Finding a girl with wisdom is like finding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It exists somewhere, but you have to look for it and then you have to create it because, at this point, if I were to find a pot of gold somewhere, it wouldn't be something that it exists, because do leprechauns exist and then do pots of gold and a rainbow exist? No. So you got to create it. But anyways, finding a girl with wisdom. And a girl is like someone under 30 in our society, even telemerically, but she has wisdom. She has youth. She has vitality. It takes a minute. Some people are closer to that girl with wisdom than others. Some people are like way behind the eight ball. What does it mean by way behind the eight ball? Well, in our society, when you are maybe 50 or 60 or 70 and you have a lot of predispositions, but you could be a 30-year-old with so many predispositions. So is really a girl under 30, with wisdom, with predispositions, does that make a Jilly Juice girl? No. It's so hard nowadays to find a baseline that I can use as an example. But if you look at a relatively healthy girl that is in college and she's from a good family and they have relatively good health care and health insurance, and they are, I don't know, what is it? They are progressing at the acceptable rate as their peers. And you've seen the girls, out there, they're from higher socioeconomic areas. Their parents are both white collar professionals, and the girls look like something you'd see on TV as, these cheerleaders or these cute, really pert, rah-rah sis boom bah type girls that are athletic and very, very cute. You see them all over the place, okay? So that's like the prime of youth, but with no wisdom. That's a prime of youth where it's all hormones and no wisdom. The Jilly Juice girl is where you're in the prime of youth with so much wisdom, and you may look like a college girl, cute, pert, relatively in shape, but when you speak, you don't sound like a college girl that just, graduated from college. You don't sound like a college girl that just started college, just left her mom's nest and wants to go party with the boys and all that stuff. No, the Jilly Juice girl is someone where she looks youthful and she sounds like a woman, but she doesn't look like a woman. Okay? So what's a Jilly Juice woman? She's a woman that's very mature. I would say has taken on a lot of predispositions. So where she's aging and she has like gray hair, wrinkled skin. Yes, she has wisdom, of course, because she has the years of experience. And Jilly Juice women are women that don't want to be, that realize that youth is fleeting and to embrace the aging process, and will find an excuse to accept the aging process, likes growing old, okay? And there are Jilly Juice women, but she also realizes that she can turn the hands of time back. So that's only one half of the Jilly Juice woman. The other half of the Jilly Juice woman, because Jilly Juice is the actual descriptor of the woman, she realizes that she doesn't have to accept aging. She can have the wisdom and have the youthful vitality, exuberance, energy. You could even say almost like an immaturity sometimes. Like when I have a lot of energy, I'll just say things that are kind of nonsensical. My husband's like, where the hell does that come from? Oh my God. And the other things that he may think I'm acting like an old person because I'm not interested in certain things. And he's like, dude, are you 90? Well, there, I've had my bouts with those things. I don't want to deal with that again. And so a Jilly Juice woman knows that she can turn the hands of time back, and she's in the process. She's not there yet. Okay. So that's what you see on my Facebook, the Jilly Juice girl, which is those beautiful girls, very symmetrical, very proportional. Yes, they're wearing makeup because we're not trying to be like, this organic girl. No, we're not trying to promote that. We know makeup exists. Makeup enhances the beautiful features. Makeup enhances what you already have. So a Jilly Juice girl is proportional. She's promoting something that isn't like a temporary cure or an MLM or stay of execution. She's promoting something that's going to give people the key to their own control of how their body is going to adapt to this universe. Okay, a Jilly Juice girl is someone that looks like they're like 30 or maybe even 40 or 20, but they have the wisdom of a Jilly Juice woman who knows that she can turn the hands of time back physically. Okay? And so yesterday or the day before, I was talking about Jilly Juice girl, and then I have these Jilly Juice women like Christina Morris and somebody, a Heidi, and they want to be, the Jilly Juice, female. And I had to, at first I was like, you're not there yet. I mean, I'm wanting to promote specific measurable results. So for me to put out a person that's still aging and degrading, even though they've have come a long way relative to their predispositions and they have met some milestones in their world, it's still not going to translate to the overall world out there. So I have to make some kind of distinction between a Jilly Juice woman who is still battling her demons, hasn't really arrived yet to have the aesthetics match her mind and her spirit, but she's on her way. Her spirit and her mind are aligned, but the body isn't exactly there yet. So that's a Jilly Juice woman. A Jilly Juice girl is where you look and see the body, mind, and spirit is relatively aligned. Not saying they're 100% perfect, okay? Am I 100% perfect? But what is perfection? But youth, vitality, proportion, understanding how to control your body, mind, and spirit, understanding the chemistry, harnessing the right elements, what you post, what you see, how you deal with conflict and controversy. That is the whole package of a Jilly Juice girl, where you're taking yourself out of the war. You're understanding everything has a place. You're understanding how the world works. And you don't join in on the war. You understand there's a battle within you, and it doesn't necessarily have to translate and be projected out there against anybody else. That's a Jilly Juice girl. Okay. So that was from my creativity of trying to, because I was looking at Pip's picture and she was posting something and she looked really, really good. I'm like, oh my God, that's like the ultimate Jilly Juice girl. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's Bridget and there's Molly and then there's Krista. And these are the women that have contributed to me in so many different ways and fit the package. And then I have, someone like Christina Morris and Heidi and people that have been, that are matronly and are still battling their predispositions, and they still want a piece of this. I don't want to leave them out. And they don't mind being out there as far as their picture. And they've given me testimonies, and they have won battles relative to their predispositions. The same battles that are out there, they're not winning. Okay. And so I got to give them a place too. And then there's Jilly Juice boys and Jilly Juice men, but I don't have a lot of Jilly Juice boys, and I don't really have a lot of Jilly Juice men that are willing to put themselves out there. Okay. So it's mostly the Jilly Juice women and Jilly Juice girls that I have examples of, because that's mostly who I am reaching, but I am reaching some men, but not many men want to put themselves out there. So I understand that. So I don't want to impose, any kind of, invasion of privacy. Okay. So it's not like I'm saying that none of you guys are any of those, but I don't want to impose and invade your privacy by posting your picture and saying, okay, knowing that you have contributed. Okay. If you send me an email or a private message saying, hey, I'm a Jilly Juice woman and here's my picture, great. Okay, but nobody wants their picture out there, because it's easy to take a picture, upload it into Google, and find every account attached to that picture. You can find out who the person is. Some people don't want to be found out, or they don't want to be in that kind of spotlight. So, I'm not going to do that to people. So the people that I know don't mind being out there, I've grabbed their pictures because they've already been out there in some way, shape, or form. Okay. All right. Anyway, so that's the Jilly Juice girl and Jilly Juice woman. And that's, the standard of beauty is symmetry, proportion, balance, and indefinite youth and vitality. Okay? Because we have to have specific measurable results. There's no point in doing the Jilly Juice and you're not seeing any results. You're not seeing anything that you could substantiate. If you are doing Jilly Juice and you have nothing to bring to the table as far as a testimony, or you don't have any benefit that you could even offer anyone, then why are you on Jilly Juice? Why are you promoting Jilly Juice if there is no substantiation to your loyalty to why it is that you like Jilly Juice? So that's the whole thing with why I'm picking certain standards of beauty and why I'm picking a Jilly Juice woman versus Jilly Juice girl, because you have to have intention. There has to be a specific outcome and there has to be a specific measurable result. There's no point in doing something if you're not getting the results. That's why my group is the way it is, because it's a very results-oriented group. It's not a place to just throw up all your crap. It's a place to where you understand that you can throw up your crap and you have a solution and you are dealing with the solution. You know what it is and you know you're not there yet. And you want people to know that your journey and that they're not alone. Okay, so my group and the Jilly Juice is a results-oriented protocol, and it's a results-oriented society that I'm trying to create, even if it's virtual. And it's transparent. It's not like I'm hiding behind anything. Like, people know exactly my intentions. And then some people don't like it because they can't fit that description. They're not following protocols that will give them that opportunity to reverse the aging process. They're still dealing with their herbs and their pills and their powdered supplements and promoting the New World Order, negativity. Okay. So it's interesting that I'm also watching the Facebook feed about, the Cleveland Clinic and the 40% decrease in heart attacks. Well, it's better to have a heart attack than a heart failure. Okay? It's better to have a heart attack than heart failure. Better to have liver injury than liver failure. Because when you have a heart failure or liver failure or kidney failure or brain failure or lung failure, it means that you're basically dead. So when you have a heart attack, a stroke, and you don't die from a stroke, when you have liver cancer, when you have kidney issues, okay, though with kidney failure, you can go to dialysis. But if there's no dialysis, then you have nothing. But when you have any of those those attacks where it's not failure, that's your insurance policy. That's your one warning or two warnings prior to then the actual failure to tell you that you need to back up your body with the right nutrition. Now, some people say that, oh yeah, I suffer some kind of attack on the Jilly Juice. No, you suffered a symptom that you already was going to have anyways because you have predispositions and the body is trying to repair itself. Why people die from liver issues, kidney issues, brain issues, heart issues, lung issues, because they have not given their body what it needs to go and back up the body's defibrillation process. Because any kind of attack is the body's last hurrah to get some kind of minerals from the hair, skin, and nails and bones and nutrition that's supposed to be on reserve. And if it's not on reserve, then you're not going to have anything to back up those defibrillating experiences. Okay? Because electrolytes is like the body's defibrillation, and then it's supposed to grab nutrients and grab minerals and grab, nutrition to go and carry the blood through to the proper places. And if you don't have what it takes to do that, then yes, people die from heart failure, liver failure, kidney failure, brain failure, lung failure. Okay? So the fact that 40% decrease in heart attack patients at the Cleveland Clinic since COVID-19 says that people are surviving their heart attacks. Now, are they backing up those heart attacks with the right nutrition? Probably not. So they're going to sustain, most likely, some kind of predisposition. Okay? And that happens all over the place. Why people have heart attacks and strokes and they're not doing the J juice. And then they go to the doctors and the doctors will then put them on medications, or they survive the heart attacks and strokes and maybe they don't suffer any predispositions, but it's hard to say. And do people want to really run that risk to just, not go to a doctor from a heart attack and stroke and they're not on J juice? But you wonder really, when you follow someone that has a heart attack and stroke and they never went to the doctor and they weren't on J juice, what was the actual outcome? Most likely we won't know what that is because most people will go to the doctor, but now people aren't. Now, are they going to come out and say, well, the reason why I didn't go to the doctor and I had a heart attack and stroke is because I'm afraid of COVID-19? Who's going to say that? So there's no way to gather that data unless somebody is willing to say, yeah, I went through that and I went through a heart attack and stroke. I'm not on the J juice and I never went to the doctor. And yet I'm still here. Everything is great. I have no paralysis. I have no long-term damage and I'm fine. I don't know how many people are going to say that because they have other predispositions. It's not just people don't just have heart issues. When you have a heart issue or any vital organ issues, you have other predispositions. Okay. So, they'll say, well, I still have my diabetes. I still have my, who else knows what they have? Okay. So, viruses. Yeah. So I was posting about how the virus isn't that evil. It's that people have that many predispositions. And so, being exposed to a new virus in the environment, being exposed to a new entity, or having an excess of something in your microbiome or your biochemistry causing antibody accumulation or acquisition, the immune system is going to kick into gear and, of course, create the antibodies and then try to repair the damage. And if you don't have enough of what it takes to repair the damage in your body, you're not going to see a reversal of your core issues. So no matter what, viruses are going to, or any antibodies, are going to force a body to try to adapt to the environment. And yeah, you can adapt with predispositions. So yeah, viruses and vaccines, which are part of the microbiome, because they're made up of the microbiome, will force a person to deal with their predispositions. And if you don't fix the root cause of your predispositions, you will still perpetuate the same predispositions and potentially gain new ones because, you haven't taken care of the root cause, and those antibodies are going to then attack and exacerbate the weaknesses in your body. Okay. So so no matter what, you're exposed to a vaccine, exposed to a virus in the environment. If you are really that weak, no matter what, you're going to die from exposure to the virus in the environment as well as the vaccine. And if you're that strong, you could potentially survive the virus in the environment with predispositions. But if you get the vaccine, you might get less predispositions. So it's relative to where you are, how strong you are. And if a person gets a vaccine over being exposed to that virus, that could actually save their life or save them from, long-term damage. But, if that's all you're doing is days of execution and natural remedies and vaccines and protocols like allopathic holistic, you can be sure you're going to be maintaining and perpetuating and creating new predispositions. I mean, just switching to natural remedies over a vaccine, if you don't have what it takes to handle the antibiotics, because that's what natural remedies are, antibiotics, if you're creating more antibodies in the body, then if you don't have what it takes, then you could potentially die from natural remedies. See, anything that you apply to the body that's antibiotic is going to create antibodies. And if you have a lot more antibodies already, and then you take on more antibodies, hey, guess what? That could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's what people don't realize, that vaccines and natural remedies are relatively the same thing. But a vaccine, yes, still has antibiotics in it, no different than a natural remedy. But it has a virus that you have to be exposed to anyways because you can't escape the viruses. No matter what, you can't escape viruses. So all the adjuvants in the vaccines are part of the microbiome. Those are the antibiotics that you are giving to your kids, the natural remedies you're giving to your kids. Oh, I don't give my kids aborted fetus cells. Hello, they eat food that's prepared by other people. DNA gets into the food supply. Pig and all of that stuff. I mean, animal DNA jumps to kids' DNA. It's not like you're going to keep your kid in a bubble. They go to a farm. They go to a zoo. They go hang out with other people who've been to farms, have been to zoos. You're getting foreign DNA, I guess. You're getting all of this antigen from your environment. You cannot escape your environment. So the people that will blame, this is where the people that are not really for the protocol is people that blame the vaccines for their kids' predispositions. Because guess what? When you do the J juice and you have your predispositions come up, are you going to blame the J juice for the predispositions? Or are you going to realize, oh yeah, my body has to deal with those at some level. And I have now the recipe to help back up this immune response that potentially could fix the core issues, regenerate cells at the micro level. Viruses don't, in and of itself, viruses don't regenerate cells, but they force the body to get into action to then work the way it's supposed to. But if you don't have what it takes, then that's not the virus's fault. It's not the vaccine's fault. It's your fault because you haven't given your kid enough nutrition. You haven't fixed their predispositions. You haven't fixed their gut, and you haven't fixed yours. So it still comes back to the responsibility of the parent to take care of their gut. It still goes back to the responsibility of the parent to take care of their kid's gut. It's an individual personal accountability. So, but still we have to get rid of that model of escaping death, take on predispositions of the allopathic and the holistic world. But if people don't understand Jilly juice, then that's the only model they have. That's the only alternative, is to take on a predisposition because of compound generational predispositions they have created over years and years and years of reproducing on bodies that shouldn't be reproducing. Well, they should, but every single time you reproduce, it's another compound predisposition. It weakens the genetic line every single time you reproduce. Every single time you have a baby, the pregnancy is harder and harder and harder. I've already seen it in friends of mine that they had a great first pregnancy, they love it, and then the second pregnancy, they hate it. It's horrible. It's like, oh my God. They are bitching and complaining all over Facebook. And I'm like, I know exactly what they're going through. The second baby is some people say, well, all my babies were easy. Well, good for you. But they've sucked the life out of you. You are like, you're not as young as you used to be. Your body is falling apart. Okay. So having a lot of kids destroys a woman. You got to realize that. If you don't realize that, then okay. But anyways, I just wanted to talk about that stuff real quick because see, it's interesting. I did post that 2012 ceremonies, and everyone has a perspective, and I think it's fine. Perspective is everything. Okay. Some people are going to take the perspective that the National Institute of Health, or what is it? National Health, whatever, in Great Britain, when they did those hospital beds, it was an honorary type of thing, a ceremony, something, an invention or whatever, to celebrate the hospital system and all that and all those beds. And then then we have this COVID-19, all the conspiracy stuff. It's talking about all those beds and what they see in that Olympic ceremonies. It looks exactly what happened in China with all those beds lined up next to each other, maybe 6 feet apart. And so it's all in how you want to look at it. And do we actually know this virus was released purposely, or was it something just got created and not something that was just already maybe in the permafrost and the permafrost melted and now it's escaped? Hell, I don't know. But no matter what, it's good to entertain both sides. It's good to entertain everything so you know all the arguments, and then you can speak to both sides of the people so you're not always coming from one side. You speak to both conversations, both listenings, and no matter what, no matter which one you believe or not, it doesn't even matter what you believe, you'll be able to reach somebody with your information because you're not taking a side. Okay? You got to acknowledge the alternative. Yes. That's why you see me go back and forth with Bill Gates, loving Bill Gates, hating Bill Gates, loving vaccines, hating vaccines. You're like, what the hell? Because I keep flip-flopping. And I'm sure I confuse the hell out of people. Why is she flip-flopping? She loves vaccines, she hates vaccines. I don't know if I hate him, but I understand it's not really the answer, but it's better than the alternative, which is death. But you have to understand both sides. So that way you can acknowledge that wherever people are, where they are, and then you try to gear them in the life trajectory. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's intentional that this virus came out or if it was actually something that was naturally created organically. Okay? You still got to survive it. Whether or not the intention is to depopulate the world, well, maybe eventually it was going to happen, and maybe it's bound to happen. Or maybe it was an actual intention. But does it really matter? Jonah says, yeah, someone I worked with last year, he lost his third baby a week ago. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. Yeah. I mean, babies are going to be lost, whether they get the vaccine or not. It's still a crapshoot, and it's up to the parents, to really reinforce their body. All right, it's up to the parents to really have a very healthy body to begin with. And even then, it's very difficult, because what's a healthy body? But then there are high-risk births or high-risk pregnancies. I know people that had a high-risk pregnancy, they had lupus, and they got diagnosed with lupus, and they had all these kids. These diagnoses trigger reproduction, because the body senses it's not going to be around to carry on the human race, and so there's your offspring. So anyways, so it's good to understand both sides of the argument. It's good to understand the place for Bill Gates, a place for vaccines, there's a place for natural remedies too. But no matter what, do you have what it takes to handle the natural remedies, the synthetic remedies, the cures? And so that's why the Jilly juice is it can work with it all. Though I tell my people, you really don't need to take the pills, power supplements, and detoxes and all these natural remedies. Unless, of course, you're really that much pain. And instead of taking some kind of painkiller, you want to take this. Okay, fine. But no matter what, you don't want to have the antibiotics overshadow the probiotics in the J juice. Okay? You really want to have more of the J juice over all the antibiotics and antibodies and antibiotics, because you have more antibodies will then destroy a body. More antibiotics you apply to the body will destroy the body. There is a correlation. Too many antibodies, too many antibiotics and natural remedies as well as synthetic is going to destroy the body. Okay? So that's why Jilly juice and the probiotics, but not just any probiotic, it's got to be matched with the right elements. Okay? It has to be matched with the right elements, because you could have a pure probiotic, like a probiotic supplement, and then you take so many of those, it can cause lactic acidosis. So that's why the salt is there to balance out lactic acidosis. That's why when somebody is running and they get so much lactic acid created from running, they have to drink electrolytes because their body's losing electrolytes. Now it's all lactic acid. Now they must take electrolytes to then replenish their body, and so to stop the muscles from cramping and all of that. Okay? So there's a reason why the Jilly juice is such a very strategic recipe, and why the protocol is so strategic, because it all has the right balancing forces, so you don't have too much of any one thing, and then the body will trigger what it needs to release and what it needs to absorb. Okay, then you start listening to the intelligence of the body. Okay, so that's it for today, but I just wanted to recap over the weekend, because I didn't put those videos on YouTube, so I've just kind of put it all together in this one video. All right, have a good day. Bye.